Hello, everyone, and welcome to the VAED, the Voice Actor Education Document. If you found us on YouTube, take a look in the description, and you should find a link to the VAED, and you'll find that we have with us today June Yoon. Hi, June.
Hello, hello.
Yes, sir. So you're here for one of our coaching videos to introduce the community to who you are. But being honest for a second, I think a lot of the community already knows who you are. So I'm going to dispense with a lot of my preamble and pre-ramble and jump right into the questioning phase. If you're ready for it.
Sure.
All right. So June, what had you taking up coaching for voiceover specifically in the first place?
Uh, I had always been a teacher, I suppose. The story goes back to the college days and even before then of me immigrating to the United States.
Hmm.
But long story short, I had a decision to make. I could either be an actor and live the life of an actor with waitering and Ubering and all the things that go with it in a job, or I could have a stable career, which appealed to me a lot more, as especially as an immigrant to this country and the financial backings of an Asian household, this whole thing. So instead of going straight into acting like I had originally intended to, I went into education instead. The slight bit of selfishness that I wanted to exude in my own career, education in theater arts, so that I could hang around the idea of acting. So in 2005, I received my teaching credential. In 2004, I received my bachelor's degree in theater education, and in 2005, I received the California teaching credential in theater arts, and came out of there and got a job and started teaching high school theater all the way up until 2016 when I pivoted to voice acting. Education is a happiness for me. I talk about happiness a lot, and teaching, guiding, mentoring, and providing information and watching our colleagues soar in this way is a source of happiness for me personally. And I wanted to continue that sense of happiness and that sense of effervescent like joy that I feel into the new career. And today, well, I started teaching specifically voice acting in 2020. So now it's been 4 years on. So collectively, I've been teaching for 15 years, and I love it.
I have to say, I'm glad you love it because it's a really synergistic choice, too. You love theater, you wanted to stay in the realm of it, and you were showing people how to get started there, and that transitions right into voiceover. I love it. Synergy. So, June, something I ask everyone for these videos is there a specific aspect or specialization in voiceover that you focus on coaching people in?
Yeah, I would say my very specific niche, if you could call it that, is the fundamentals of acting in characterization for folks who are looking for it. Um,
Hmm.
I genuinely think that if you're currently a working booking voice actor, uh, if you feel confident in your performance and in your reads, then I am not the right person to coach you. I'm just not. But should anyone desire a solid foundation, or to revisit it, or to rework it, or to obtain another interpretation of it, if you will, then I might be the right person to go for. In my curriculum, in my design, in the thing that I prioritize when it comes to coaching, is the sense of authenticity, the sense of
Hmm.
self inside the story. This casting call is going to have this photo, this illustration of this character with their
Mhm.
name and their age and specs and all the things. Um, but I tend to go towards, let's throw all that out and let's put your image and your name and your age and your specs in there and say the words as you would in your own sense of authenticity inside the context that you create, which are also born from your own experience and imagination. And
Okay.
by deploying these tools and weapons, if you will, at our disposal around us and envelop and surround us with it, then all we have to do is be us in our own sense of authenticity, which brings a sense of confidence. In addition to realism and believability, because we are who we are every day, you know? Um, and if that's sort of centering,
Hmm.
returning back to a core, the foundational aspect of acting is what XYZ actor is looking for, then I might be an interesting person to engage with for a couple of sessions and see how it goes.
That is very interesting. I don't think many people who aren't initiated in that kind of thinking would think that way because when I see the specs, yeah, I would think follow the steps in the specs. But it's true that we have to bring something ourselves to it. Otherwise, we could just plug it into an input and output would be whatever the specs are. You're right, there's something extra brought in there. So, what I'd like to continue though is you've been a teacher for not just voiceover, but as you say, for theater in general and broadly. In all of that, have you culminated and put together a teaching style? Like something that differentiates you from other teachers?
Um, yes and no, I suppose. In a way that I utilize the idea of various strategies and philosophies that I've been taught by my teachers and mentors over the
Mm.
years. Using all of it, I've it's culminated to this philosophy and an analogy using this Swiss cheese model. So in that way, like it is unique
Wait,
in a bit
wait a second.
different.
Swiss cheese. You lost me on that. Could you elaborate on how cheese has factored into our acting today?
Yeah. Uh, um, as we
What?
were alluding to earlier, like if everyone, uh, 100% adhered to the specs that are provided
Hmm.
and behaved and said the words that are in the PDF as we are expected to, then the casting director is going to receive just a mountain load of performances that are exactly the same, just different voices. Uh, and speaking with the casting folks that I know, this is already an existing and prominent thing occurrence that happens.
Oh yeah, I've done
So
it
many of
once
these are the same.
before.
Yeah, and
Once before, and it was exactly like that.
and I'd like to think that characters that are shown in those sides, in those auditions and casting calls, are pieces of Swiss cheese. These blocks of Swiss cheese with these holes in them. Um, and it is our job because the characters in the PDF are indeed people or characters if they're non-humans, but they're entities and
Yeah.
characters just like us with our own thoughts and philosophies and beliefs and approaches. A whole piece of June cheese and Robert cheese, you know. But these characters are Swiss cheese because they're missing vital information about who they are and what their experiences might have been. And I equate that and then analyze or analogize. I use that as an analogy, perhaps,
Oh.
as the holes in the Swiss cheese. And our job as actors, in my opinion, is to take our own cheese and insert those pieces into the holes of the Swiss cheese, making it whole. And that way, the chunk of
Okay.
Swiss, the hybrid June Swiss, the Robert Swiss cheese that the casting director will take a bite of in that MP3, uh, is flavorful. Or disgusting or creepy or whatever else they were looking for, you know. And if it doesn't taste good or if it doesn't smell right, they'll certainly pass. But should you put together this fusion cheese that just happens to fit what they're looking for, the flavor profile, the aromatics profile, then you might have a chance at making it into the shortlist. And you didn't have to worry about a voice or a archetype or anything else but you being you in your own authentic, stinky, cheesy self. So I suppose that could be one aspect and a model and an explanation that I might utilize in my own approach as an actor that is not seen in other folks. I haven't heard of any other actors using cheese as a model in their approach, so I suppose that
Neither
does
have
set you
I.
apart.
That's definitely unique to you. Let me see if I can hijack it for a sec as I segue into my next question though. So, all right, hang on. Give me a sec. I think I got this. So, let's say you have a student and that student themselves is cheese like you said. Are there some qualities that a cheese might have, unhealthy qualities, qualities that shouldn't be consumed? In other words, problematic. How would you describe a problematic student, preferably without using kinds of cheese? Let's move away from cheese for a sec, but how would you describe a more problematic student in that case?
uh, the word problematic can also have different contexts, right?
Oh,
And different
please.
the interpretations. And we don't know why XYZ actors are not willing to do ABC things. And if they don't
Mm,
want to, that's their prerogative. Can't force them to act, right? I mean, we don't live
absolutely.
in that world, thank goodness.
Not yet, we don't. Please no.
But I have had multitudes of students on stage and in on a Zoom, like on an online conference like this over Zoom or whereby whatever it might be, where they're not willing to explore that aspect of themselves, and that's fine. There
Mm,
are boundaries and lines that we simply must not cross, and that differs for everyone where it's drawn and how thick that line is, certainly, and how willing we are to go near it. So every human being has the right to be respected in their choices. So if a student is not willingly and intentionally not willing to cross a certain boundary of their past, of their grandma passing, that
mm.
the script is asking them to emulate in this scene, then I completely understand. Of course, no one should be pushed past beyond their boundaries for the sake of what, this audition, please, right? That's inhumane and cruel. Um, but that's different than an actor who's not willing to explore an XYZ side of themselves or their creativity or
Ah,
imagination due to other reasons. It's one thing if they themselves in their self-awareness don't know why they can't go there. That's up to them as well. But uh reasons like, I don't do that.
mm.
That's not me. I don't do that. Okay, it's up to them. I can't make them act. But problematic in the context of actors, I would argue, is either the lack of experience or lack of exploration in their self awareness and their willingness to discover and experiment with their self awareness inside the authenticities of this character that they're playing, or it's some other cosmetic, other reasons that they are not uh in full confidence in, perhaps. For example, some actors are very hesitant in playing villains. They don't like the
Ah.
idea of an antagonistic approach to a personality or a story involving themselves as someone who does bad things or whatever. Uh, Understandable, sure. And they can certainly dig their heels in the ground and say, "I'm not going to play any antagonistic characters." That's up to them. But it will certainly cut down the possibilities of work, right? Uh, I
Absolutely.
I myself have other boundaries that I will not cross, of course. But
Yeah, we
aside
all
from
do.
those things, I am more than willing to do everything that I need to do to get the job done, and whatever it might be. Again, those boundaries and lines differ for everyone, and each one of them are legitimate and valid. But for any, I don't know, whatever superficial means to anyone in whatever context, any superficial reasons to not approach a certain topic or to explore a certain aspect of a humanity or a culture, for whatever reasons, I would define that as problematic. Um, Different ways to
Hmm.
deal with that as directors and as coaches, either to set up a different scenario, uh, displaying a similar state of being, emotion, the storyline, personality, approach, or to find someone else. As
So it goes sometimes.
it's how it goes sometimes, and that's perfectly okay. And uh, no one is problematic. I have a big issue with that word. Apparently, no one's problematic. It's just more. Some are more willing than others. Some have more boundaries closer to themselves than others, and it's a matter of navigating ourselves and navigating each other in this way.
I like that you've set that stance on problematic specifically. I admit I used it somewhat casually, but it's true that it could infer a lot of things that aren't intended and wouldn't be fair to call problematic about someone. You know, everyone has their lines. If they don't cross that, that's not problematic. This is my line. Those should be respected.
Now, it is problematic if you're late, right? And you're riddled with technological problems, or
Time is
how to
money.
control your gain, or you whatever it might be. Those things are problematic, sure.
Yeah, those are skills to be polished and maybe some routines to be cleaned up a bit too. All right, June, thank you for that. Well, I'd like to jump right into another one, and it's kind of related to when issues or perhaps just alternative directions are required. When it comes to a student, whether they're learning with you or just seeking advice on what direction to take with a script, how would you provide? We're going to use another word that might be a little bit loaded, criticism. How would you provide criticism if asked for?
uh, Criticism is only used when necessary. I mean, if the actor is
Hmm.
killing it and they're landing all the lines, and the director is getting what they want, then there is no need for criticism, right? You do the thing, yay, right?
Yeah.
But to provide criticism or provide a critique is with the expectation that they'll do something else or do it some
Hmm.
other way that satisfies the vision of the director or the coach. Um, and if criticism is to be provided to the actor, then it's my belief, and I'm sure everybody else will agree, that the criticism must be provided with constructive advice to not repeat it or to continue dwelling in it, so that they can improve whatever it is that they're working on, or if they could provide an alt take that satisfies the vision in some way, and a method and an avenue or an advice about how to achieve that improved take, whatever that might mean. Um, Criticism for the sake of criticism, critique for the sake of critique of I don't like that,
Yeah,
or you're terrible, or whatever it might be, is just not helpful. Of course not.
definitely not.
But to rephrase, the words are powerful. We know this, right? To be able to construct a phrase and a feedback and a sentence and a paragraph about providing criticism, to be specific with the feedback, and to pair it with how to constructively, how to not repeat the same thing, or to drive them to a different idea or an improved idea or a more accurate idea about what the next take should be, what the expectation is. That constructive criticism, in my opinion, is mandatory, and any director, any coach worth their salt in the field of education will know that.
I agree. I've often thought that criticism comes in, like you say, constructive and also destructive. Destructive is when it's not helpful, when all it really does is rattle your confidence and threaten to take down what you've been building up with your talent seeking. I agree. Well, something then, this is a brutal segue. I have no clean segue for this one, June. I'm on a track and I've got to follow that track. My question, the next one for you is when you have a student who wants to seek you out and begin learning from you, is there anything that they should accomplish or have in mind before seeking you out?
Well, just a clear idea of what they're looking for, what they're looking to gain, I suppose. from our time together, into the investment that they're making with with their wallets as well. Uh, uh, to spend the time and the energy on willy nilly on an hour with someone without any clear objective of what they want to achieve, I think is silly. Um, it's one thing if they don't know what it is that they're looking for. That's perfectly fine too. And if they're upfront and honest about, like, I don't know what I'm doing, where I'm going, what my first step should be, that's why I'm here, then that's a clear and valid reason to be here, of course, right?
Yeah, it's
Um,
where do I begin?
precisely. And even though it's rare, I still have those folks approaching with, I don't know, I just booked an hour and here we are, like, tell me what I need to know. Okay,
Oh,
then there's other ways to address that situation and define a path and construct a set of short-term goals, or poke and prod about what it is that they might need moving forward according to what they want to achieve. So those conversations do certainly happen, but having a clear idea and at least a well thought out intention and intention and a purpose to what the next 60 minutes of life will be is certainly helpful. And when you bring that idea paired with, going back, with the willingness to explore and to play and to experiment in this way with our imagination and our creativity, then the session turns quite productive because we know what we want. When we're willing to play, we're willing to take in the information and the activities and the acting and this whole thing that we might do. So that every minute is jam packed with value propositioned content and knowledge and experience, advice, whatever it is that they might be looking for. Um, Anything required technically? No, of course not. It doesn't, no, but only the willingness to play and a clear idea of what you want to achieve and attain in the next hour. Then I would say that that's the bare minimum that I might ask for.
all right. Then have you, in turn, recently had a chance to have one of those constructive, productive hours with another coach or talent? This is a segment we have on here where we like to pass the baton a bit to introduce the audience to another potential coach, maybe further down the line since you're the fundamentals guy. Have you had anyone in mind?
I have plenty. There are so many coaches and actors that are out there that can really open up the idea of acting, self awareness, the craft of characterization forward.
Mm.
Um, the immediate names that come off the top of my head are Karina Becker. They're amazing. They are an amazing actor and performer, improv actor, and coach and teacher and director. Karina is absolutely phenomenal. 100% recommend Karina Becker. They're amazing. Um, Also, Brooke Chalmers, a wonderful director and coach. The guy with a heart that's bigger than mine, bigger than anybody else's, I think. He's got this very jolly way of welcoming you in and making you feel at ease
Oh,
and relaxed so that you can do your thing. And there's a sense of trust and camaraderie that gets built right away. And Brooke has a wonderful way of reaching the actors in this way, so that he can go in there and do his thing. Brooke Chalmers is wonderful.
oh, that's so
Um,
nice.
I'll also mention some
The
studios
third.
from which to take group sessions.
Ooh.
The Sound On Studio by Kirsten Day, fantastic organization. She herself is a wonderful, phenomenal actor, and she invites other professionals in the industry to run these workshops and workouts and other things that add to the talent pools, the skills, the abilities that one might craft in this way. The same thought goes for Real Voice LA. Mike
Mm.
DeLay is a phenomenal veteran of this industry with his own studio in Los Angeles. He does in person and online classes with industry professionals in this way. So huge shout out and a thumbs up to Real Voice LA. The Help Network, that's HALP, the Help Network. Um, Another a gigantic giant in the education industry of voice actors and other things as well. The Help Network. The Adventures in Voice Acting, the educational arm of Bang Zoom with Tony Oliver and Dora Fine. Super amazing as well, of course. Yeah.
Wow, that is more than I usually get from this segment. June, thank you very much for all of those names. Oh, wow. I'm going to have to look up like all these people after this. Well, we're coming pretty close to our end on this, and I'm still being blown away by that last segment with all those names. So I'm going to get our last true question out of the way here, but it's a very important one. In fact, I'd say importance is the theme of the question. June, what is the most important thing a student could learn from you?
Um, Perhaps I think to learn that you are enough.
Oh, dang. That hit me.
That that there is no need necessarily to act, to put on a mask or to costume or be fictitious in any way. Because each actor alive on this planet have garnered for themselves their own experiences and lives and relationships and formed opinions of themselves and others. And those things, those elements of natural everyday life and history that one has gone through, are valid pieces of information about a certain character. And certainly, it's nice to have a stable of characters that one could access at any point authentically. But the one true character that they'll play every day, all day, even when they sleep, you dream like your character does. You eat like your character does. You make the same sounds when you get up out of the chair as your character does. Especially if you're old like me.
Oh, no.
And that aspect of you as the character to bring yourself into the story, this video game, this audio drama, whatever, um, is the very idea of authenticity inside a characterization or portrayal. The idea of natural, no duh sense of believability, because everybody believes you when you say things in real life. They don't go, "Are you an actor?" They don't do that. And that effortless, that easy breezy sense of believability and genuineness. If you could only bring that to the character, to the script, and bring that piece of cheese with you, so believable in your
Jeez.
own smell and history and aroma and taste. That very sense of you are enough breathes in this innate sense of confidence because you know how to be you, 1,000%. You're you every day in all the things that you do and the things that you say, and to place and to signify that portion of you are enough in this industry as an actor is a big confidence booster for those who truly believe it, or for those who are willing to navigate with it, explore and experiment with it in that philosophical approach. It pans out good, in my opinion. It pans out well for them, and I hope the listeners of this interview will also take that into consideration.
The authentic you is enough. Take that to heart, everybody. I know I just did. June, before we close this out, I want to say thank you. I'm going to say it again by the end of this, but also, do you have any socials, any websites, anything you want to share for people looking for more of you?
Yeah, the actor side of me can be found at juneyoon.actor, and the informative,
Nice.
informational side of me can be found at juneyoon.info. Pretty
That's
pretty
just that's
clear
just
there.
intuitive.
So
Yeah, that just makes sense.
there you go.
All right, June. Well, like I said, I'm going to say it again. Thank you so much for being here. And thank you, everyone, for being here and listening to June's cheesy words of wisdom. And thanks again. Thank you, everyone. Have a great day. And June, bye bye.
Bye bye. Thank you.